Quantumania will set up the Young Avengers. See what CBR has to say about this and check this out.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is potentially going to set up a lot of what the MCU is going to be dealing with within phases 5 and 6. And I don't just mean Kang. It could very well lay the groundwork for the worst kept secret in superhero film history, the Young Avengers. If you, like me, have watched the first trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a good dozen or so times in the last 3 or 4 hours, you probably have a few theories about what might go down in this picture. One of the most prevailing ideas that keeps coming up over and over amongst MCU and other general comic book fans is the idea that Scott Lang may not be making it out of this threequel alive. I mean, we do see a quick shot of what looks like a few different versions of Ant-Man running, with one literally falling apart, which is actually kind of horrifying. Plus, there is the fact that Disney and Marvel Studios recently released a video that was positioned as a kind of look back at Scott Lang's journey through the MCU up to this point, which is all well and good, except for the fact that tonally it's a major bummer, very much feeling like a memorial of sorts. But you know, that might just be a tad too meta to read into that deeply. Point is, it kind of feels like Lang is not long for this world anymore, especially since he's going up directly against Kang, which is supposed to be the major villain of the multiverse saga. And what better way to make Kang look like a massive threat than have him take out an Avenger in his first proper appearance? But, I hear you commenting, what does this have to do with the Young Avengers, silly video voice man? Well, it all comes down to Cassie Lang. You see, we know with almost absolute certainty that Cassie is going to be joining in on the action by the end of Quantumania, judging by the shots we have seen of her suited up in her own purple Ant-Man style getup, meaning that stature might very well be making her way onto the big screen as a hero proper. And if you look at how she became a hero in the comics and what was going on with her at the time, you may notice that Scott Lang wasn't around there either. Kind of like him dying is almost integral to her becoming a hero. During the Avengers Disassembled story arc, a resurrected Jack of Hearts, who had passed away not too long beforehand, appeared on the grounds of the Avengers mansion. Feeling somewhat responsible for Jack's death, who died saving Cassie and a whole bunch of other folks, Scott made his way outside to try to greet his fallen friend and figure out what the heck was going on. That is when Jack of Hearts exploded, taking out a large portion of the grounds and killing Scott near instantly. It turns out that this whole situation, as well as a whole bunch of other messed up stuff that happened shortly afterwards, was perpetrated by Wanda Maximoff, who was going through a severe mental breakdown at the time over the recently resurfaced memory of her children. Let's go ahead and put a pin in that, and we'll circle back to Wanda here in a little bit. After Scott's death, Cassie wasn't in the best of situations. She constantly fought with her mother and stepfather, and actually planned on leaving home one night to try to join the Runaways, yet another team of superpowered youngsters. However, that very night, Cassie learned about a new team of heroes, who called themselves the Young Avengers. And so, alongside Kate Bishop, she set out to find them in order to join their ranks. Arriving at Avengers Mansion, the two found Iron Lad, Patriot, Hulkling, and Asgardian. While discussing the possibility of Cassie and Kate joining the fledgling team, things got a little heated, and Cassie began to grow in size rapidly, much to the surprise of literally everyone around her, including several adult Avengers. It turns out that Cassie had been secretly taking Pym particles for years, which granted her the ability to shift in size without the need for a fancy suit. Not too long after that, who should attack the mansion than Kang the Conqueror himself? And the Young Avengers, alongside their newest potential recruits, sprung into action. After that battle, both Cassie and Kate became full members of the Young Avengers, with Cassie adopting the codename Stature. So that is a pretty solid roadmap for how things could go for Cassie within the MCU. Her father could fight the big one by the end of Quantumania, and his passing would spur her forwards towards joining up with the other younger heroes who have been introduced thus far, giving us the initial roster of the Young Avengers. But once we have the team assembled, what sort of storyline could we see set out for them? Are there any that tie into things that have been going on within the MCU? Well, let me introduce you, dear viewer, to Avengers Children's Crusade. This is a fantastic story arc that follows a team of young heroes as they go against the wishes of the adult superheroes, all in service of attempting to track down Wiccan and Speed's mother, Wanda Maximoff. You see, at this point in time, most of the world assumed that Wanda was gone, or at the very least, they hoped that she was. After the events of Avengers Disassembled, which led directly into House of M and the near destruction of the entire mutant race, people weren't exactly the biggest fans of Scarlet Witch. However, Wiccan absolutely believed that she was alive and desperately wanted to find her. Believing and trusting their teammate, the Young Avengers set out, and with the aid of people such as Magneto and Quicksilver, they tracked her down to Latveria, where she was living a rather simple life, completely unaware of her true identity. Well, okay, as simple of a life as one can have, considering she was set to be wed to Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom himself. After rediscovering Wanda, though, the Avengers arrived on the scene, which caused all kinds of chaos to erupt, as the senior heroes, youngsters, and an army of Doombots engaged in a massive battle, which was only stopped by the timely arrival of Iron Lad, who quickly swept away the Young Avengers and Wanda. To where, though? Well, being a variant of Kang the Conqueror, spoilers, I guess, in case you didn't already know that, Iron Lad possessed the ability to not only teleport them to a different location, but to a different point in time. In this case, bringing the team to the Avengers Mansion shortly before the arrival of Jack of Hearts and the death of Scott Lang. Arriving there, Wanda's memories were returned to her, and she became the Scarlet Witch once again. Which is great, as Iron Lad brought her, the team, and a very much still alive Scott forward to present time, where Wanda proclaimed her intention to make amends for M-Day, which she eventually did down the road during the Avengers vs. X-Men story arc, but that's a story for another day. Anyways, things quickly got out of hand, as the remaining X-Men quickly arrived, causing a standoff between the mutants who wanted justice for M-Day and the Avengers, with all the youngsters stuck in the middle. But to make things even more insane, Dr. Doom soon arrived and, utilizing some newly acquired reality warping powers that he garnered from Wanda, he took on all of the heroes present in a massive throwdown, which sadly resulted in the death of Cassie Lang, who passed away in the arms of her father. Don't worry though, as expected from comics, she came back to life a little while down the line. Now, why would Children's Crusade make for a solid entry within the MCU? Well, we've already seen a surprising amount of setting up for it. First up is everything going on with the Scarlet Witch. As of the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Scarlet Witch is seemingly dead, or at the very least removed from the spotlight. All that after going a little bit nutty and causing some serious issues, including several deaths, due to the loss of her children. Couple all that with everything that went on in WandaVision, and she is also, just like on the page, not someone that a lot of people are fans of. In fact, most people probably view her as a villain at this point, which potentially places Wanda in a position to play an almost exact role as she did in Children's Crusade, even down to the fact that the senior heroes probably wouldn't be big fans of the children going looking for her. Again, because they probably view her as a bad guy, an incredibly dangerous bad guy. While we know that Wanda is rumored to be making an appearance in the upcoming Vision Quest Disney Plus series, it could be that her role there might just help to set up another key element that would need to be put in place for Children's Crusade. That being the return to the main MCU Earth of Billy and Tommy, perhaps even being aged up so that they can join the Young Avengers proper. I'm not entirely sure how that would work out exactly, so I'll just have to save that idea for a potential future video. So, at least the basic threads that make up the premise of Children's Crusade are there. You got Wanda, you got the Young Avengers, it's a start. Now factor in the future appearance of Dr. Doom. We know that he will more than likely spring up, given that his character is always closely associated with the Fantastic Four, who are debuting in Phase 6. And there's also just how much of a role Doom plays in the Secret Wars storyline in the comics. So, why not give him some setup away from Marvel's first family, as a sort of pseudo-antagonist in a Young Avengers team-up project? Just to show that he's not just a Fantastic Four villain, but somebody that the entire universe needs to worry about. And of course, let's circle back to Scott Lang in Quantumania. Suppose that Scott does die there, specifically at the hands of Kang. Adapting Children's Crusade could give us a way for Scott to come back. And in a very poetic way, if Iron Lad were to be introduced and play a part in his return, that is. Given that, once again, he is a Kang variant. And one that has been rumored to be making an appearance in the future, so who knows? Basically, all of this could be set in motion by the passing of Scott Lang at or near the end of Quantumania. Admittedly, it might be a little bit of a stretch. However, at the very least, I could really easily see the movie giving Cassie the motivation to step up and become a proper hero on her own. Not that she's really missing out on any of that, as she has been talking about heroes and such since she was a literal child. But, you know, any setup is good setup. Hey there everybody, I'm John Alditz. I'm in this video, and I want to know what you think. Do you think Quantumania is going to connect to the Young Avengers, outside of the origins of Cassie? Maybe it'll give us Iron Lad. Let me know in the comments down below, or go ahead and shoot me a response over on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to CBR for even more great videos just like this in the future.
Like this video and see you guys. Bye.